one of the most interesting and special, important verses of the entire Bible are offered in a lot of narration that was taking place. So many beautiful stories, so many things, themes and topics to work with. One I wanted to start with is when the two women were on their way to the tomb, and they were saying to one another, it was very early on the first day of the week, they went to the tomb when the sun was just rising, and they were saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the door of the tomb?" Who will roll away for us the door of the tomb? Now, what does that mean? Remember, in the story, in the narrative, we heard that the authorities went to great lengths to realize and to be sure that Jesus was dead. They said it here a number of times. Jesus was dead. They had to be sure. There were many efforts made to be sure that he was not someone that could be maybe revived, or they were scared to death, literally, that if Jesus was maybe just unconscious or was in a coma, then he could be revived, and then they would have really major problems on their hands. Jesus said he was going to come back from the dead. They wanted to be sure that he was gone. So these two women, in their hope against hope, not really. They were going with the aromata, with the ointments, to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body. They were not so much caught up into thinking about Jesus coming back from the dead. At that time, again, this part of the mind was saying that he's gone. He is gone. This person that we loved, this person that we looked to, this person that we had all of these aspirations for, he's gone. And now we're going to go and we're going to anoint his body. At least let's give him the honor that he is due. They went with that in mind, and those words, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the door of the tomb?" Fascinating, because if you read between the lines, not here in the front of their head they were saying, he's gone, he's dead, but in the back of their minds, they're saying, well, something is going to happen, something good is going to take place, something positive is going to take place. And they went on their way to roll away the stone from the door of the tomb. What does that mean? This was a huge rock. And these were two women. I'm not trying to be politically incorrect here, but most women have a considerable amount less physical strength than men do. Two women were going to the tomb. And their concern was, well, we've got to roll that stone. They saw where he was laid. They saw the stone being placed there. This was part of the tradition, a very large stone, so that none of the contamination could come from the tomb out, but also to keep the tomb sacred and away from people. Who is going to roll away the stone from the tomb? Somewhere in their heads, they had some hope. Okay. Put that on hold. Who of us alive, who of us breathing, who of us that has even a little bit of an idea of what's going on in this world, who of us does not see some problems that are going on in our world today? How can we totally ignore that? We can't. Nor should we, actually. We need to realize that there are very powerful sources in this world, sources that are opposing in every possible way the powers of God. There are powers that God has allowed to come on this earth to try to bring us away from Him. Bear with me. I'm leading to something. There are powers on this earth trying to lead us away from God. And that is a fact. The part that goes with it is those powers have become extremely well entrenched in this world, not just this small place, not just in this community, not just in this state, not just in this country, but in this world. They are doing everything they can possibly do to destroy the two most important things that our civilization on this earth has and needs to keep. You go back into history, we go back into history, and we will see that the most firm, the most important, and the most significant of the organizations that began on this earth was family. Family. If there is no family, there is no civilization. There is no family, there is no organization. There is no family, there is nothing to keep us together, to give us some kind of sense of meaning on this earth. Other than I get up in the morning, go, eat, come back, sleep, wake up. There's something more to life than that. The part that goes with family is marriage. Marriage. Marriage sanctifies the family. Marriage seals the family. Marriage makes this family want to work together that much more to make success of itself, to give meaning to this life. And the third, religion. Even in early caveman times, when you go back and look at archaeological sites, early archaeological sites, there is reference to some sort of an alluding to something greater than themselves, human beings, at that early stage in their life. They knew instinctively that there was something beyond what they can smell, taste, hear, touch, see. There's something greater than them. And that's a fascinating story in and of itself. But these three things, family and marriage and religion, if the devil can get rid of them on this earth, he has a clean slate. But God is trying hard not to give him that clear shot, that open invitation to come and destroy family and marriage. God is giving religion an opportunity to come in and to sanctify. That's what makes the family and marriage so important. The religion gives it validity, because the religion tells us that there's something more than waiting around for death on this earth. There's something more waiting for us. So we need to do something good on this earth, something good in this life while we have this life on this earth, to try to help ourselves and those loved ones that we have behind us and those that have gone on before us. Religion is vital, and anything that threatens religion, we should look at and try to overcome. Family and marriage, religion. Be careful. Let us never let anyone or any power or anything overcome or try to overcome or take that away from us, because then we're gone. I have here 15 questions. This religion that we have has taught us from the very beginning how important it is to teach, to learn, to find out who and what we are, to find out something about this God that we say we worship. So we have to make efforts to learn about these things. And this is why very early, in the early apostolic church, there was and is what's called catechetical school. Katechesis, Greek word meaning school. Katechumenos, the catechumen, anglicized form of that, is a student. In the early apostolic church, among the most important things that an early Christian would do is to learn about his or her faith, to find out what's going on, to make this life more meaningful. We have today what we here in America are calling church school or Sunday school. And we are strongly, strongly encouraging you, those who have children, please take the time to introduce your child, to bring your child. Don't drop him off at the door and come back and pick him up afterwards. Bring your child to the liturgy, and then take your child to next door to the catechetical school, to the Sunday school, to the church school, whatever you want to call it, so that he and she can learn something more about what's going on in this world, to give that child some kind of a foundation. Because another fact, unfortunately, is statistically, when my children leave high school and go off, whether it's to work in the world or to go to college and then hopefully find a job, 60% of our Orthodox children don't come back, will leave the faith. 60% is what has been shown out there. Once they go into college or once they get out of the immediate influence of the parents, then the tendency is to go and stay gone. My question is, what are we doing? What are we doing to try to keep that child, those children, our children? They're not those children, ours. What are we doing to keep them close? What are we doing at least to give them some fighting chance when they go out into the world and all these other powers are pulling them aside, pulling them one way, pulling them another way, and trying to get them to forget this God. You don't need God. You need other things. I'll give it to you. What are we doing? Shame on us if we're not doing anything. Shame on us. And then we come back and we complain, well, my kid's done this, my kid's gone there, my kid's not doing this, etc., etc. What did I do I'm not saying that every child is going to be perfect. I'm not saying you're God. I'm not saying that everything is going to fall into place if I do everything right here. The devil is alive and well and is doing everything he possibly can to convince us that he does not exist. Because if he doesn't exist, then it's God's fault for all these other things that are happening. The devil knows how to play the game, and he is really good. I have to help my child realize that the devil is out there and that the devil is trying to do everything he can to get my child to turn his back on my God and me, because we're still working for the same thing, the good of those that are coming after us. Our Sunday school is a good place. We're not perfect. We're not going to be able to answer all the questions and answer all the needs that our children have, our families have, you have. But we're trying, and we have to work together. We have to work together. To put it bluntly again, there are 168 hours in a week. Of those, on a good week, maybe we'll get your kids here at the church 2 hours a week. The rest of the time, where are they? They're not here. They're being influenced by other places. Hopefully, a big part of that is with you. And you influence your child, because I promise you, what is it? Nature abhors a vacuum. You've heard that scientific, I think that was 4th grade, 5th grade science. I remember that part. So if I don't have something to occupy my child and to tell my child what she is supposed to be doing and involved in, then that kid is going to find something somewhere else. 9 times out of 10, it's out of that stinking phone or sitting in front of that stupid computer to fill its brain with the things that I am not giving it, or the church is not giving it. We're trying. We'll develop some more things here, not today. But our Sunday school supervisors have come up with a unique thing of trying to encourage our kids to be involved. But they're going to, I'm telling you now, I'm sharing some of this. One of the things that they did was to ask the older classes, because that seems to be a bigger concern, because as the kids get older, they're coming to Sunday school fewer and fewer times. The older classes are less apt to come to Sunday school than the younger classes. The younger classes, why? Because they're younger and we have them under our thumb more. But when they get older, by the time they get 15, 16, 17, I'm telling you what you know very well. My influence as a parent is way down on the scale. My priority as a parent in their eyes is down here. There are other things, other people, other institutions that are more important to them. But our Sunday school has done something, and it piqued the interest. It grabbed the interest of some people, and I'm wanting to share this. They purposely wanted for some of us, some of the older ones, adults, to meet with our kids to answer some of the questions. Listen to this. These are questions, anonymous questions. We don't know how old, purposely done. The promise was we were not going to ask names. We are not going to ask who they are, any of that. Totally, totally anonymous. Number 1, Jesus, his father, came from the house of David. The Old Testament states that the Messiah will come here by bloodline. This was things we saw, heard at Christmas. But Jews do not have the bloodline of Joseph. Jesus does not have the bloodline of Joseph. How has the Bible fulfilled that? This is from one of our kids. Really? Listen. What is the Orthodox view on the great debate of predestination versus free will? Awesome. How should we learn to notice our weaknesses so that the devil has less control over our words and behavior? Five words in the next one, but hit to a big crux. Why is liturgy so boring? What is the best way to organize a prayer? Why would God create the world and man with love, but send the devil and his angels to exist with him, mankind? What we just talked about just a moment ago. Have you ever done, I was supposed to be doing this, but this was at the time when Father Mike left, so others took my place. Have you ever done an exorcism? They're asking the priest, right? How do we handle having non-Christian friends? Is evolution real? Why do other religions say icons are a sin? Should we distance ourselves from singers and artists whose music is not respectful or worshipful of God? How can you improve your faith and relationship with God? What does it mean to be a good Christian? How can I practice my faith? How can angels help us? Now, these are 15 questions from our kids. I'm asking us, parents and grandparents, family members and friends. Were you aware of these things going on in your kids' minds? Were you aware? Do we take the time after their Sunday school? Do we take the time to talk to them, to ask them, what did you pick up today? Well, I don't want to talk about it, or it was okay, it was boring, it was this, whatever. If we don't get in there and find out what's going on, I promise you somebody else is. I promise you they are not going to leave our children alone. If I don't realize what's going on in my kid's life, somebody else does. That telephone that we're talking about here. Do you know who it is inviting into your home? Do you know who your kid is sitting on that with those buds with a telephone? All of the times that we're giving it so we can babysit, it can babysit for us. And who is talking to my kid? And what is he saying to my kid? We bring children into this world because we feel there is hope. Are we preparing them? Are we giving them that hope? Remember the women that were going to the tomb? Even when things were totally lost in their minds, there was still that little spark, still that little something that was inspiring them to say, we're going to go, but who's going to roll away the stone for us? They had in the back of their heads, something good still is out there, but I don't know it yet, but I'm going to find it out. We're bringing our children into this world with hope that they're going to have a good life. But what am I doing to help that child, those children, have a good life? These are questions that I should be talking about with my children. I should be asking them, what's going on? What are they picking up? You think this transgender stuff is happening in other homes? in other states, in other parts of the world? What is my child thinking about all of this? We need to wake up. We need to realize that things are happening out there. And it's not happening out there. It's happening in my home. It's happening here. Take the time. Talk to your kid. Just innocuous things. He's not going to open up, or she is not going to open up right away. It takes a while. For those of us that don't have our own children, take the time. Talk to a couple of these young people here. See what they're doing. Say hello. Say, they may brush you off in the beginning because they don't know you and you don't know them. Just a little hello every once in a while. A little pat on the back, a little something to let them know that we care. Let them know that we want to be there for them, with them. I wish I could tell you exactly the formula to follow. I wish I could tell you exactly what to do and that you will be successful. I can't. I can't, dear God. That's my frustration. All of us have problems. All of us. All of us have things that are facing us and sometimes are so overwhelming. And I'll be the first to tell you, there are times when I've looked up and asked, where are you? But I'm still trying. That little back of my head say, even though I don't see you right now, who's going to roll away the stone from the tomb? Because you promised you'd be there with us. I have to keep that spark. And I have somehow, some way to relate that spark to my child, to this one. Not just my child, but to give hope into this world. May God give us the strength. May God give us the courage. May God give us the wherewithal, whatever it is that we need to keep a spark of hope alive.